The Iowa High School Athletic Association and the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union have okayed spring sports or summer sports to start here in a week with baseball and softball practice starting next Monday and games starting the week of the 15th, where it'll explain how that all came to be with Decorah High School Activities Director Adam Riley and Waukon High School Activities Director Brian Hilsabeck. Adam, we'll start with you. How did we get to this point where summer sports were going to be allowed in this state?
Well, some different perspectives have been shared with us a little bit in some different things. It took some time. I mean, Governor Reynolds ultimately made, and Dr. Ann Lebo, who's the Department of Education director, kind of made an ultimate decision after a number of things that came about, and the Girls Union and Athletic Association told us to sit and wait until June 1st, and then suddenly we found out a little bit sooner, which actually created some good opportunities for planning everything else. You know, I had sat in a meeting with Mr. Keating from the Athletic Association last week where, you know, he labeled a little bit. There was a national level discussion because, you know, summer sports in Iowa, it's the only state that has baseball and softball during the summer, and they really wanted to kind of create and take advantage of an opportunity to kind of have a control model to see some different things before they make some decisions in relation to how we'd manage some of the fall sports. So it's kind of going to give us an opportunity here to hopefully keep kids safe, set some parameters in place, and do some things that can hopefully be positive and uplifting for everybody.
Brian, how are you going to keep sports as safe and keep kids as healthy as possible with giving them this opportunity?
Yeah, well, we're going to try and follow the CDC guidelines that are outlined by the Iowa High School Athletic Association and the Girls Union. I guess we're planning on, as a conference, putting together a letter to parents and contestants where those things will be kind of laid out, and hopefully they're going to self-maintain or give themselves, you know, self-control on coming to the games and putting regulations in place as far as taking their temperatures at home before they even come, and if they have any illness whatsoever that they need to stay home. So we put together a document as a conference, and hopefully that will set the guidelines as we move forward.
And obviously health and safety are the main concerns, and that's the reason school was canceled in March and spring sport activities didn't come to be, Adam. But there's the other side of the argument. You have a lot of kids that have been pretty much trapped inside, haven't had that socialization aspect, haven't had that activity aspect over these last few months. How important is it to just give kids an opportunity to really do something here in June and July, knowing the fact that the public health officials have given you the okay to do so?
Yeah, you know, our whole world, and I know Brian would attest to this, is about finding ways to build connections, and building connections through a Zoom meeting isn't always the best and the easiest way. Kids want to be around each other. We want to be around them. And this does give us that opportunity to say that things are going to be exactly the same. I think everybody knows and respects that. You know, I know as we talk with kids and work with kids, ours have been great in terms of saying, hey, here's some of the things that we can and cannot do as it relates to the use of our school facilities and the parameters that are set out by the Girls Union Athletic Association. But boy, you know, it's no different. And Brian probably had the same thing. The minute that it was announced in the press conference on that end of things, my phone, you know, lit up like a Christmas tree from the kids, because they're excited and they want to do some things. We just hopefully can channel some of that excitement in the right direction for them, and then hopefully, you know, we can continue to have supports for parents or from parents and spectators at games, so we can do this and try to do it right.
And Brian, are there going to be any restrictions regarding crowds or people or the game day venue itself as you start competitions here in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. There, you know, the practices, you know, they set out where we're not supposed to use the dugouts except for during competitions, those types of things. And just maintaining social distance. You know, coaches are expected to do that at practice. So what that looks like, I don't know. we're all entering uncharted territories, and we're just going to do the best we can to keep people safe. And yeah, but there's a long list of recommendations that were set out that we're expected to follow. And I don't know, and locally, maybe, obviously parks are different. Baseball fields and parks are different if they have the availability to use the bleachers or take the bleachers out. But I mean, we're going to encourage, fans to bring their own lawn chairs and stay in their own respective groups and go from there.
And as for a lot of this conversation, Adam, most of it's focusing on the varsity level, but you still have underneath levels, the 8th and 9th grade for baseball and softball, the 10th graders and the junior varsity. As for the Decorah end of things, how are you going to handle the underneath levels of baseball and softball?
Yeah, that came together actually pretty well. There's a lot of meetings that Brian can attest to, and a lot of different scenarios that we were kind of trying to play through in preparation if they would say that we could go ahead and have a summer sports season. But the lower levels were always a part of that discussion. The way we look at it with interscholastic athletics is we want to make sure kids have opportunities to play. So, you're in a conference for a reason, and the conference has done a really good job of saying, hey, let's try to do some things to take care of being respectful of the needs within our league. And then also with that, those needs are still giving kids opportunities to play. So, with us, as we've laid out the schedules, we know we're going to have lower level game, an 8th, 9th game / JJV game, the opposite site of both our baseball and softball games the morning of the varsity competitions. And then we've worked on some things based off of what baseball coaches decided a little bit different in terms of trying to create some JV opportunities on the mornings after some of those varsity games. So the softball coaches went with a little bit different schedule in terms of they had the one extra week. So they had 14 dates that could fit in to be able to do that. So they chose to make a decision to not play the doubleheaders in the JV varsity because they wanted to make sure some of those kids, middle kids, in that JV level had opportunities to play and develop as well. So the coaches have done a good job. ADs have been completely on the same page about how we can try to work this out and create some real good opportunities for all the kids, grade 8 through 12.
And Brian, how are you handling things underneath wise in Waukon? Pretty similar to what Adam just talked about?
Yep, exactly. And again, a lot of it's going to be based on the number of kids we get out. Right now we don't have a for sure number of participants. I guess come June 1st, we'll find out, and we may have to fluctuate, some schedules as needed. And I also want to give a shout out to Adam. Adam's taken a large lead in this, which he usually always does. He never takes credit for any of it, but he's a rock star. He's done a great job for our conference and for all of our schools. So
I just fake it till I make it. My dream is to be as cool as Brian Hilsabeck someday.
That is a noble goal for all of us, Mr. Riley.
Absolutely.
Moving forward, let's say, obviously parents and kids are having a lot of discussion right now. Let's say there's a parent out there that has concerns on whether a playing environment in baseball or softball will be safe this summer. What would you say to that parent right now?
I guess I would say that it's there as an opportunity. If the parents obviously feel it's unsafe, we respect that 100%, and we respect them to stay at home 100%.
And Adam, same question to you.
Yeah, I mean, I would just, say, add on to what Brian had said. I completely agree. We want kids safe. We're going to do some things to put some measures in place. The whole time, Brian and I have had a number of conversations, and all of us at an administrative level is saying, well, what can we do better and learn from, this? What opportunities are in front of us? And there's some great discussions that we're having. There's some parameters that will be very clear that'll come to us hopefully tomorrow. From the Athletic Association and the Girls Union on a number of different levels that we can put some things in place. We want the kids safe. We want to be around them. The other piece that I would just say, I'm not trying to throw it back at other people, but when it comes time for us to have these contests, we really need and want people to be able to respect some of that space based off of the opportunity. Come watch, see the game. We've got different things that we plan on putting in place to make sure we've got some different angles that people can watch our games, you know, to not put windscreen up and some other things so people can spread out. But just please have fun, enjoy watching the kids play, and be respectful of some of that space and the social distancing, because a lot of people have put a lot of time in to give us this opportunity to be able to do that. And to add on to the parents is, you know, we want your kids safe. We want to be safe ourselves. We would never ask, I know this is how I feel, I would never ask a student to do something that I wouldn't do myself on that end of things, because if I didn't feel it was safe, there's no way that I would do it on that end of things. And I know Brian has a similar philosophy when it comes to that as well.
And baseball and softball are the main focus of this conversation, but have you had any conversations either as a school district or with the state about off-season work for other sports or fall sports at this time, or is that a conversation to be had down the road, Adam?
You know, there's been a few things. The National Federation of High Schools put out a really good document, you know, that would have been early last week. That provided some real beginning parameters as far as where some guidance, at least on the discussions, are going to happen. Everything from 3 tiers of what sports have the most contact to then, you know, the three different levels of, you know, when and how you transition back into some of those different sports based off of what's happening and occurred. And it was a good document, very eye-opening. I think it gave a lot of the governing bodies some good information, but I don't know that they've made a lot of decisions other than saying, hey, we want this month of June to be the real guinea pig, so to speak, in the state of Iowa, to see what happens nationwide when it comes to that.
And Brian, do you feel that having the opportunity for young people to participate in spring sports or summer sports and baseball and softball this summer is maybe a little bit of a way to, you don't use the term bring people together because they got to stay 6 feet apart, but do you feel it's an opportunity for the community to have something to really get behind? Because I think a lot of communities, A, people want something to do, and B, there's no better way to have something to do than to support young people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the kids are going stir crazy enough as it is. But yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for kids, for the community to rally around one another and hopefully lead forward through this uncharted territories.
Brian or Adam, or I guess I'll start with you, Brian. I'll be a gentleman. Any final words that you want to pass on to the community in a situation like this?
No, we're thankful for the opportunity that the state is allowing us to do this. Again, we just ask that social distancing, you know, to keep everyone safe is followed. We'll have posters and things lined up. If there's any questions about it, please don't be hesitant to reach out. And but we just want to keep everyone safe, like I said, and hopefully keep moving forward.
Adam, any final words on your end of things?
No, you know, I don't want to be cliche like Field of Dreams, but the states give us an opportunity to be, you know, if they build it, people will hopefully come, and we want people to do it, but we just want people to do so safely and find ways to continue to support our young people in both of our communities and throughout our area. It's a really, really good thing to be able to have some sense of normalcy, and hopefully we can do this right. So when we talk about the fall, we've got some good information and some things that can create some opportunities for those kids who are fall athletes too.
Well, normally these two guys really don't get to see their families in the spring. Maybe their families are seeing too much of them here when it comes to the situation that we're in. But we appreciate Brian Hilsabeck, Waukon High School Activities Director, and Adam Riley, Decorah High School Activities Director, joining us to talk about summer baseball and softball. It's happening here in the state of Iowa.